The KZNSA Art Gallery is proud to present a moving exhibition that sheds a light to the history and politics of native South African beer and the Durban system. This installation explores the impact of the 1908 South African Native Beer Act and its role in the colonial strategy of alcohol colonization. Through compelling artworks, the exhibition highlights the resistance led by Black women that eventually led to the 1959 Beer Hall riots. Visitors are invited to reflect on this powerful narrative of cultural dispossession and resilience. Welcome to Umqombothi Ubhokweni Nejuba, an exhibition by Russell Hlongwane and Tammy Langtree. The purpose of this exhibition is to highlight the history and politics of native South African beer, also known as Umqombothi. Through powerful artistic expression, this exhibit attempts to shed a light to crucial yet often overlooked chapters of resistance and resilience in our country. Now let us introduce you to the artists.
Good evening, everyone. As Angela mentioned, my name is Tammy Langtree. I'm a cultural producer, curator, a researcher, and I guess for the purposes of tonight, I'm an artist. And I'm really honored to be here in Durban. Partly because this exhibition is a 2-year project which we've been developing and researching, and it's been in other spaces. And so you can only imagine talking to Cape Townians about Umqombothi, talking to Germans about Umqombothi. And so now we're here in Durban talking about Umqombothi, so I'm really happy to be here. And so I hand over to Russell to continue the intros.
Yes, good evening to you all. So I'm obviously from Durban, it's just not obvious. I'm a cultural producer who lives up the road from here. I've been involved with the local community, with artists, practitioners, thinkers, and so on. So it's a real honor to bring this work home.
Tammy Langtree goes over the techniques and the types of mediums they use to convey the story of Umqombothi and the Durban system.
I think people look at us a bit confused when we say we're not artists of one medium. So when you look at the exhibition, you'll see photographs, you'll see installations, you'll see amavovo, you'll see books, you'll see Umqombothi, you'll see dry sorghum, wet sorghum, you'll see video, you'll hear people's voices. And so it's a lot of different mediums, and through that we wanted to use multimedia as a way of talking to the complicatedness of the subject. But at the same time, there's also the presence of Umqombothi. Like when you enter the space, you can grab a glass. I have. You can also smell the brewing, yes, because we brew in the space as well, so that when people enter, it's multi-sensory. And we hope by that, doing that, it's about connecting what is living with this art, these artworks and this information.
Creative producer and artist Russell Hlongwane goes over the personal connection that he has with this exhibition and also the inspiration that led him to it.
So, the connections are many, and more generally, I'm from Durban, and it's important for me as someone who is engaged in producing the city. I have to find a point of entry. And my point of entry is through my grandmother, who was the first in my family line to be in the city. And I've always had the question of what might the Durban that she stepped in look like. And that question led me to start exploring and trying to understand the material conditions of Durban of those days. And this project, or at least this beer hall riot, constantly came up in the archive. And it was a way for me to use that point of entry to date back, but also move forward.
Now let us hear from some of our exhibition visitors as they share their favorite pieces and what they have learned from this remarkable collection. Listen as they reflect on the art that has moved them and the insights they have gained from their visit.
I'd say the film and the archive pieces that you can see in these shelves, because they show a history that we know is there, but we're not too familiar with. So we don't know how it actually came to be. So to actually see this and to understand the order of how things unfolded is quite interesting too.
Durban's history is an interesting history in terms of the way in which it, in a sense, was the precursor to the apartheid system of the country in terms of its Durban system, keeping people segregated out of the city because of color or their economic status. So I've always been interested in Durban history and what goes on in the city and how it works.
The exhibition has provided a moving exploration of the history and politics of native South African beer. Not only has the exhibition been informative and educational, but it has also inspired other young artists to be able to express not only themselves and their art, but also where they come from. Thank you for joining us at the KZNSA Art Gallery. Be sure to visit and experience the powerful story of native South African beer and the 1959 Beer Hall riots. Until next time, keep exploring and appreciating the arts. For Credible Source by DUT Journalism, I am Nonjabulo Myeni.